Reporting live from Capitol Hill with Right Side Broadcasting Network, I'm your host, Bailee Byers, and I'm here with RSBN's political analyst,
Max Kleiber.
And we're here because we were actually here today yesterday, for the March for Life, and we decided to extend our stay since the president is set to give his big announcement regarding border security here in just under an hour and a half. Now, Max, loaded question, but what are your predictions for this, and how do you think this might be taken by the Democrat Party?
I think this is going to be the moment of this almost 30-day shutdown where we look at something that will force Democrats to come to the table. Now, Nancy Pelosi has done a great job avoiding meeting with the president, meeting with Republicans, trying to hash out this shutdown. She's even attempted to go out of the country for about a week, as you guys may be well aware of. And so right now, I think the president is going to use his power of being the president, of being one of the most captivating presidents we've ever had in this country's history, as a way of putting something on the table publicly. And I think that will likely have something to do with DACA. There's some reports about the temporary protected status immigrants as well being put on the table, although that's some mixed reports, but we'll see. But this could be something that the president looks back on a few weeks from now and says, that was the moment that I shifted some of the attention and was able to bring Democrats to the table to negotiate to end the shutdown.
Yeah, thank you, Max. I definitely agree. I think in an effort to get the leftist lawmakers back to the negotiating table, he will have to give and take here and there. And I think, offering extensive DACA protections for dreamers and other things like that hopefully will entice them back to the table because, if you think about it, that's what they campaign on. They're all about helping those that have come here and are protected under DACA. So I think that, getting them back to the negotiating table is critical to end this shutdown, as, 800,000 federal workers are still furloughed and are expected to miss their now second paychecks, unfortunately, coming Tuesday. Now, I saw some reports yesterday suggesting that Pelosi was actually spotted at the airport, so I don't believe she's in Washington, D.C. right now. But how do you feel about that, Max? Do you think she should be here negotiating, or?
It would obviously be ideal. We would obviously hope that she would be here willing to end the shutdown. Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi on a numerous occasions called the shutdown horrible and disgusting. Well, they must not be that disgusted by it if they're willing to go vacation while it's occurring. So, I think that if you're going to come out against something and have the power to bring it to an end or fix it or change it or what have you, then I don't think you should be able to get away with leaving. And that's honestly my take, and I think it makes a lot of sense to say. I think it makes a lot of sense to say that, if I didn't like something and I had the power to fix it, then I'm going to fix it and not complain about it. And of most of the people in D.C., Nancy Pelosi has the most power, if not the second most power, in this country to fix it. So why is she leaving?
Absolutely, and just kind of going off of that as well, Iowa Senator Joni Ernst actually introduced a bill to essentially bar lawmakers from leaving D.C. if there's a government shutdown, which, quite frankly, I can't believe is already not a law, but I guess it's something that I hadn't thought about yet. I mean, I can see both sides of it, but I think that that's going to be taken really well by the GOP. How do you think some of those lawmakers will react?
It all really depends, quite honestly. I think that the bill would allow a bar for legislators to leave. However, the actual terminology used in the bill would force legislators to remain in session during a shutdown. So the bill ends the ability for lawmakers to call for a recess, which then allows them to leave. So it's not necessarily a travel restriction, but it will maintain session during government shutdowns, which will force constant negotiation and discussions to end it. I think right now the GOP is going to celebrate it, but if this law had been in place in 2013, the GOP may not have been the biggest fans of it when it comes down to the shutdown over health care. Now, obviously a little bit of a different situation, but a very similar one where, you introduce laws that help you now, it sometimes can come back to bite you. We'll find out. I think the GOP as of now will celebrate this law. Debatable if it'll pass, but Right now, it looks like that could be where we're headed. Dan Crenshaw, congressman out of Texas District 2, has called for that, has tweeted multiple occasions talking about how he's foregone his pay during this period, and also has tweeted against the fact that Congress continues to put themselves in a recess. So I know that there is some partisan support. How much bipartisan support will remain to be seen.
Absolutely, and I just want to give a shout out to Matthew Timonen. I'm sorry if I butchered that. I just want to thank you for your $5.99 donation. You said Democrats don't care about the American people. So thank you very much for that. And going off of that, I just want to thank you guys all for tuning in. Whether you watched yesterday or you're just tuning in now, we just really want to thank you for your support. We run off of your donations, so we really do appreciate that. And we have a lot coming up in the next few weeks. We're headed to the border to San Diego in the next couple of weeks. Then we're going to CPAC. And all of these things, obviously, take a lot of time, resources, money, energy, and all of those sorts of things. And we can't do it without you guys. So thank you very much for your support. If you're interested in donating, you can do that via rsbnetwork.com/donate or PayPal, Patreon, or the YouTube Super Chat. So thank you again, Matthew, for donating, and we really appreciate it.
So the reason that President Trump has called a very surprise announcement, originally for 3 o'clock, now 4 o'clock Eastern today, is a call to bring Democrats to the negotiating table. Now, what can that offer really be? And that offer was going to be likely a call to implement DACA again, which he brought an end to earlier this year, or earlier this term, I should say. And also, he will put on legislation called the Bridge Act, which would also bring in extended legal status for temporary protected status holders. Now, the reason that that is key is that a majority of those status holders come from these following 6 states: California, Texas, Florida, New York, Virginia, and Maryland. Now, these people are from Central America fleeing economic and political persecution. They were likely to be deported somewhere in the summer to the fall, maybe even winter of this year. So it would still be a few months from now. But the reason this is key for Democrats is there are a lot of people that will regain their place in this country in some of these, a couple swing states, but also some big Democratic states, which Nancy Pelosi can really take home with her, and some Democrats can take home with them if they were looking to make an eye at the presidency in 2020, and if they're looking at re-election coming up, they will secure citizenship status for many people from in their home states.
Absolutely. Thank you, Max. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to Lars Anderson for your $55 donation. Thank you very much. We appreciate that. You said MAGA, America first. So thank you very much for that. Now, Max, just kind of going off of that again as well, how much weight do you think something like offering DACA protections will have in enticing them back to the table?
It should have a lot. The controversy a year ago was the fact that President Trump was rejecting a deal that had DACA in front of it from the Democrats, and he would not take it at all. He would rather have no wall than DACA in place. Now the president is coming back to the table, reversing on that decision, and I think that it should be big because the Democrats made a big deal about this in the spring and the winter of last year, making it one of the bigger deals of the entire year, that these kids that were brought across the border against their will was the term they kept using, was they didn't choose to come here, they didn't choose to be born here. They now are being offered protection by the president, and so the Democrats should come to the table, because I feel like there are going to be a lot of clips resurfacing on Twitter, on Facebook, and in the news of some prominent Democrats talking about how DACA recipients need to be protected immediately.
Definitely, yeah. I think that it will have, or it should anyway, have significant weight to get them back to the negotiating table. I've thought it's been, very interesting in the past few weeks, just that the president really hasn't left D.C. And we see these Democrat lawmakers going down to Puerto Rico, going to see Hamilton, and obviously they don't seem, they say that they're very, empathetic in regards to, the federal workers not being paid and the partial government shutdown, but their actions don't match up with what they're saying. So I think it'll be interesting to see, what the president says today and what kind of impacts and implications that will have on the Democrat Party and, quite frankly, the Capitol Hill in its entirety. So that'll be really interesting to see. Now, I am curious. I mean, I know that there's a chance that he could declare a national emergency. I'm not sure, how that's going to pan out. I haven't seen a lot of reports saying that, but how do you think it would impact the country, and how do you think, that would further have an impact on our country moving forward if he were to declare a national emergency?
Quite honestly, there are two likely plays here by President Trump. Play number one is what we're talking about. The DACA and the TPS are going to be placed on the table by Trump for $5.7 billion in return. That's the likely play that we're hearing a lot of chatter from a lot of different sources and a lot of different people on social media and such that is being reported. However, play number two, you're right. It could be an announcement that he's going to declare national emergency on the southern border. A lot of sources have come out against that, saying it's much more unlikely. That's not what today is going to be about today, but it could be what he does.
Right.
Here's the thing: the DACA and the TPS offering chip is what I'll call it for the rest of the day. Is going to be a long-term plan. That is a much more centered plan around ending the shutdown. It's going to be a much more concrete plan, much more direct form of action. The second plan, declaring a national emergency, is going to do two very short-term things. Number one, it'll allow for building the wall to be much more immediate. However, it will go into the court system. The courts will immediately challenge it because it's not constitutional, and there's no real money to do it. So the money is going to have to be pulled from a couple of different relief funds, and it's not going to be as effective in construction. So it may be quick, but it won't be as effective, and you're going to see a lot of Democratic judges and the federal courts go after it and challenge it, and could be struck down fairly quickly. But the upside to it will be a very brief distraction from what else has been going in the news. Obviously, the BuzzFeed story has been declined by the Mueller. The Mueller denied that claim. So I don't know exactly why that would be the move, but it would be a major distraction from anything Russia, anything Mueller. It could come on the backs of that North Korea summit that will be happening in about 6 weeks or so. We'll get a date for that later. It's going to probably happen sometime in February. So it could be something along with that, but I think the most logical move here for the president would be to offer DACA and offer TPS as a way of getting Democrats to the table. Although declaring a national emergency is possible, it seems to be the unlikely.
Now, let's just say today, the president announces, I have a new deal on the table. I really want to work with you guys, come to some sort of a conclusion and get these federal workers, their pay and back to work. Let's say that he makes this announcement and he says, you know what, I'm going to offer, XYZ DACA protections, and I'm going to, offer legal status to these people. Does this work for you? And let's say the Democrats, push back on that and are not as receptive as maybe they otherwise should be. Do you think at that point that he may declare a national emergency, or what do you think would be the pushing point for him?
The pushing point for him is going to be when it doesn't work, and I don't know if it doesn't work. And what I mean by that is when Democrats if the Democrats come to the table and they say, okay, we can't have that, we want more, President Trump can then start to shift the blame towards Democrats. What's been working for him is, I think it's about 56%. I could have that number wrong, but a slight majority of Americans do blame Trump for the shutdown. So if Democrats reject the recent move that the president makes and says, no, we're not going to take that, then the shift can be pushed over the Democrats, and there's obviously a huge election in 2020 that the Democrats are looking to win. They're going to look to win this, and any Democrat who says no to this deal, who's aiming for the presidency, is going to have to own that. I don't know how many will actually own it. We'll see. They are becoming the resistance party, so they could decide to not take any deal, make this prolonged, but eventually the court of public opinion will begin to shift on him, because it really can't get much stronger against Trump. It can only get stronger against Democrats. And I think that's what is more likely to occur.
Yeah, I completely agree. And you know what I find a little bit hysterical? The word compromise means you don't get everything that you want. There's going to be things that, they're going to have to come to some sort of a deal, I hope, soon. And at that point, neither party is going to get exactly what they want. That's not a compromise. You have to give and take. And at this point, both parties are going to have to be a little bit lenient on certain things and meet in the middle to get these federal workers, their pay and back to work. And going off of that, too, I just want to give a shout out to Tina Marie. Thank you so much. You donated $10. You said, if we do not secure a border wall, we do not have a country. Thank you so much for your donation. And then we also got a $50 donation from Ben Schwagel. I'm sorry if I butchered that. Do a joint interview with Edge of Wonder, please. You guys are awesome. Where we go one, we go all. Thank you so much for your support. There's also other reasons why we really appreciate your donations. Obviously, we're gearing up for the 2020 campaign. And that being said, we have to make sure we have all the adequate resources and tools to make sure that we are right on par with all of the other networks. So it's going to be a big year, and it's going to be here before we know it, quite frankly. So, something else to keep in mind. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we really appreciate it. It is now, let's see, it's 2:55 p.m. Eastern Time. So in just over an hour, we'll be hearing from the president. We also have another donation from Barbara Emanuel for $10. God bless the USA. Thank you so much, Barbara. Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of people in the chat. If you guys have any specific questions you want us to address, we love debating and, talking about the hot topics. So, yeah, if you have any questions on border security, our thoughts, any sort of other topics, be sure to let us know. So, Max, overall, obviously this is going to be a big announcement, but what are you hoping that he says?
I'm hoping that he uses the Oval Office effectively. I don't know exactly what'll be said, and I think every time we try to tell Trump what to say, and he doesn't say it, it ends up for the better. So I'm not going to tell him what to say, and I'm not going to hope and expect him to say something specifically. But I think this is the time when to use the bully pulpit. This is the time to use the office to push legislators into action, to push people together and force them to meet. It's easy to not get something done when no one talks to each other. So forcing them to talk to each other could be the right move. Obviously, this is a nice way to get around Nancy Pelosi shutting down the State of the Union. I do know of House speakers from the state of Michigan and from the state of North Carolina who offered up their legislative chambers to do the State of the Union. So I thought that was a very interesting move, and he could do it that way as well. But I think this is a great way to talk to the people directly and to shift public opinion in a different way and say, look, I'm willing to offer something. I'm willing to offer something. I'm willing to come to the middle. I'm willing to talk about this, but no one will talk back to me. No one will try to make a deal with me. So how can this be my fault? I'm trying to fix this. I think that's all he's got to say. And I think even though we do enjoy his shots that he takes at certain people, I think the shots need to be limited to maintain people's open mind. The Democrats, it's pretty closed already, so it needs to be as open as possible to get them to come to the table to discuss.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree, Max. And I also want to welcome a new member to the chat. Okay, welcome Stacy Mack. Thank you so much for joining. We're so excited to have you guys. And just since we have some time, so we are here in D.C. We originally just came here for the March for Life, and then we got a pleasant surprise that the president was going to be giving his big announcement regarding border security, so we decided to extend our stay. So that's why we're still here, and we're excited. We decided to come to the Capitol to get, away from, there's the Women's March going on, so there's a huge crowd down the street, so we decided to come here to, have a little bit more quietness so we could, report and offer you guys some of our insights. But thank you guys for joining. We're really excited to have you here. Like I said, we were here yesterday for the March for Life, and Max, that was a really incredible day. It was a long day. It was a cold day, but neither of us have been to DC or a march yet, so that was a really cool experience. And we actually heard from the Vice President Mike Pence. We got a video address from the president, and so there was a lot to take in. What would you say was maybe something that stood out to you, just in regards to the whole day?
Man, that is difficult. I think at the end of the day, what really stood out to me was the powerful testimonies. As I said yesterday, those don't tend to sway me so much, but even though I was already on the side of pro-life, I can't ever imagine flipping now because of the testimonies that I heard from some incredible people. I talked to a little girl early on. Her mom was raped at the age of 15, had the ability to get an abortion and decided not to. She went up for adoption, and she was there. She shared her story. I talked to her mom, found out her son had when he was 5, she found out he had Down syndrome, and later heard, at the time, it was 9 out of 10 babies had Down syndrome were aborted, but now it's 7 out of 10. So thank God for that. But she starts a fundraiser for families with kids with Down syndrome so that they may go through with the birth and help the kid with their medical expenses later down the road. And that story really was touching for me. Just the fact that so many people had been touched and affected by it and survived it, and then not only that, but what they're doing now to fight against it was incredible. They weren't just here to march. They weren't just here to listen to some speakers and kind of come together. They were here to empower others. They were here to get more people to follow suit and to take up their own action, because marching isn't enough. You have to actually do some things to affect it, to influence it, and they were certainly here to try to help others get motivated.
Yeah, definitely. The whole day was very impactful for me as well. And I think one of the things that I found most interesting was that these people that were here, a lot of them personally resonated with the cause. And it wasn't just something they stood for and just had nothing better to do and felt like coming out yesterday. These were people who look forward all year to that day and to participating. And like you had said, that woman who took matters into her own hands. We met so many wonderful people yesterday who really do more than just marching one day a year and standing for the cause. And like you had said too, I am typically not swayed either by I would feel like just random things like that, but the personal testimonies were incredible and very impactful, and it definitely, I've always stood for the cause, but it really solidified my beliefs. So I found that very interesting and fascinating. We even heard from a past abortionist, and she said that she found God and she realized what was right, and that for me was like really cool to see and hear. I also want to give a shout out to Chris Stewart. Thank you so much for your $5 donation. He said, much love and thanks from Patriot Soapbox 24/7. Thank you so much. Also, bear with me here, we have a couple more. We have a $10 donation from SD Gold Star Mom. I'm so proud of you, Right Side. Talk about the plane trip that was grounded. What do you think Nancy was up to? Why was Nancy taking her entire family, including her grandchildren? Where we go one, we go all. Max, what do you think about that?
So she was actually headed along with some other congressmen, and what's that?
The Codel, when it was grounded.
Yeah. She was headed towards Egypt to meet with troops over there who were stationed, and she was, because of regulations, the pilot needed to make a stop in Brussels, and because of those regulations as well, she would have had some extra time, and so they planned for Brussels because they were going to do what they called a PR trip. Mm-hmm. They were going to go try to fix the public image that they believe is damaged by the president. So she was on the plane. That she took her family there because when you're a congressman and there's very limited oversight, it's very easy to abuse different privileges, and no one was really going to call her out on that. And so that's what she was doing. That's what a lot of different congressmen and senators were going to go do, and that's why they got grounded.
Yeah, what I thought was interesting about all of that was she had claimed later on, regardless what happened, but later on she had said, oh, well, you leaked where I was going, and now for security purposes I can't fly commercial. They're ruining the commercial excursion. Well, she was already on her way to the airport when the flight was grounded, so I don't know at what point. The sequence of events doesn't add up, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that was also kind of interesting as well. Now, thank you, SD Gold Star Mom. Love the questions. Also, we have a $199 donation from Steve Nisley, State to State Interior Painter. Thank you so much for your donation. We also have a new member. Welcome, Terriet Alet Terry. I'm sorry if I butchered that. But thank you for joining. We also have, is that pounds or euros? Pounds. Nancy Pelosi, thank you so much for your £5 donation. It's Brian Lay 22. Sorry if I butchered that. You said Nancy Pelosi is a despicable witch that needs to be run out of the country before it's too late. Politicians like that are nothing but a cancer. Thank you for your donation. Also, we have another new member. Welcome, TSK12345. Thank you guys for joining. I I can't thank you guys enough. You truly are the backbone of this company. We love doing things like this and going out on a whim and saying, you know what, let's stay another day. You know, the president's going to make this major announcement. We're here at our nation's capital, but we cannot do it without you guys. And we have so many fun things coming up in the coming weeks for you guys that we want to do. And so we really do appreciate that support. Max?
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Couldn't be here without that. Couldn't be able to do these awesome things. Also, welcome to the new member, Tia Marie. Enjoy those emojis that you can now send in the chat. They're absolutely great. But yeah, guys, that announcement is coming in just under an hour now. And we're excited to hear from the president. He's tweeted a lot about this, but to actually kind of hear him go on a little bit longer than 240 characters should be very beneficial for us. We'll get to understand a little bit more where he's coming from and maybe see some actual progress here today.
Yes, definitely. I'm looking forward to it. I was a little shocked yesterday to see when he, it was front lines of everything. President makes major announcement regarding border security tomorrow at 3 p.m., now 4 p.m. But I don't know, were you surprised to see that? Because maybe because we were in the mode of March for Life, that it just, for me, I was like, oh, wow. But, were you surprised when you saw that yesterday?
Yeah, I'm surprised at the way the White House has branded this. They're making this a major announcement. They're really hyping this up to be a lot. And I think that's a great thing. You're going to get a lot of attention. You're going to get the people to pay attention. And that's the idea. However, it could be a little bit damaging if it turns out to not be so big. If he makes this major announcement and uses a lot of the time to bash Democrats, maybe even Republicans, to kind of come out here and just talk about a lot about how he was alone in D.C. on Christmas and all of these things. If he talks a lot about that, it's important, but if he doesn't talk about what will actually bring him to the table and he just kind of harps on the fact that no one was here and no one is talking to him and that they're not, he needs to actually show the chips. He actually needs to show what he's willing to put on the table. Just to say he wants to put something on the table doesn't really get a lot of people to come, and I think that's going to be the difficult thing for him. Now that this is hyped up, I think that he needs to stay on message as much as possible. He can ad-lib. I'm not saying he shouldn't ad-lib. I'm just saying that he needs to stay focused on bringing him to the table, and I think the most effective way is discussing what will actually bring him there.
Yeah, I agree, but I also think, the president's really good about laying out the facts. He's gone through how, ICE agents have arrested 266,000 illegal immigrants throughout the country in the last 2 years, and statistics like that speak for themselves. It's not an opinion, it's just simply a number. It's objective and you can't refute it. So I think that he's good, despite saying, I've been here in D.C. and no one's here. I think that's important to note, but I think he's also good at laying out the statistics and saying, at the end of the day, don't you want to secure our border? And I think that, everyone does, and I think that if they say they don't, then it's really just comes down to politics, unfortunately. Now, I do want to give a shout-out. Welcome, Chris Wallace, to the group. He's a new member. Also, thank you, William M., for your $20 donation. You said, great to have you guys at the Capitol representing us. We're so happy to be here. It's actually really our first time here at the Capitol, well, other than yesterday. So it's been a really incredible trip to see, the architecture here of all these buildings. I've just never seen it in person, and it really, truly is breathtaking. Now, we also have a $5 donation, again, from Ben Schwagel. I hope I said that right. I'm sorry if I didn't. It said, can you mention the 30-day RIF and who runs the courts after they run out of funds? Military tribunals. Can you touch on that, Max?
Yeah. So, let me just make sure I reread that question right. So, roughly 80% of the government is funded right now. So, all the essential personnel, almost the entire military. I believe that there are some Navy there are some members of the Navy who have yet to be paid. However, 90% of the government is funded. So that's why a lot of Americans, I think the last number I saw was about 20%. That's down from 30 early on in the shutdown. Didn't even recognize that the government was shut down because most of it's funded. The government, Senate, and the House have been passing small appropriations bills since October and September. They saw this coming, so they got what they needed to be funded before it all shut down. Really what we're seeing that's not funded, parts of the DMV aren't totally funded. There's the IRS, I think it's like 400,000 employees are not getting paid from the IRS alone. So there are some bureaucrats, there are some people in the non-essential part of government that they've been labeled leading up to this, and so that's really the only part that's not funded. So you talked about the military tribunals in that question. They are funded as of now, and they will be funded through the year. So that's not the issue right now. There's about a 20%-ish percentage of the government that still needs to be funded, and that is non-essential personnel.
Thank you, Max. Now, I just want to say thank you to Matthew Timonin for your $7.99 donation. Let's use the Space Force to send Pelosi and Schumer to a galaxy far, far away. Now, the Space Force has been, kind of an interesting topic throughout this presidency. Obviously, this is unprecedented, unless you touch on Star Wars back in the Reagan era. But how do you think this Space Force is going to pan out, and what are your general thoughts about, the U.S. having a Space Force? What do you think?
I think it's a great idea. I think that the Space Force is something that, the United States has prided itself on being ahead of the times when it comes down to the military, being ahead of times in science and technology. So with that being said, I think that the Space Force is a good idea. The thing about the Space Force is it has no money. There is no money for it. Republicans have called in favor of it. Obviously, Mike Pence made that speech. I believe Mike Rogers, representative from Alabama, he actually has called for it to be placed in Huntsville, Alabama, along with Mo Brooks and others in the state. So, there are a lot of Republicans on the side of the president with the Space Force. The question really just comes down to funding.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And obviously, because we, appropriate a good amount to the DoD, it's just going to be interesting to see how that all pans out. But I think, most of his base is completely on board with that, especially as we try to keep up with Russia and China. Now, thank you guys. If you are tuning in just now, if you're a loyal viewer, new viewer, whatever it may be, we just want to thank you for your support. We thank all of you guys who have donated so far today. Like we had touched on earlier, just in case you're, just tuning in, we were here for the March for Life yesterday, which started at the National Mall, and then we marched to the Supreme Court and the Capitol, which is right behind us. It was an incredible day, and we had a great time, and we decided to extend our stay because we know the president is making a major announcement regarding border security live from the White House in under an hour. It looks like around 50-ish minutes, give or take. So we're very excited to see what he's, what he has to say. We're not sure if it's going to be a national emergency, if it's going to be a new negotiation package for the Democrats. But Max, do you have something to add?
I do. So, breaking news from Drudge Report. This is coming from Bloomberg. It looks like Senate Democrats have signaled that they will not go along with this plan. So this is not just Senate, although those are the only ones that have signaled this. But reports are saying that the proposed deal by President Trump is a 3-year deal for DACA recipients. So although that does cover the remainder of President Trump's term, it is still not long enough. The Democrats say now they want full citizenship for all dreamers. So they're not going to do a 3-year temporary extension. They want full citizenship. And a senior Democratic aide, according to Bloomberg, said party officials were not consulted and have rejected similar overtures in the past. They are calling this a non-serious offer. So right now it looks like this may not work just quite yet. But that is currently the expectation from Democrats. Chuck Schumer and Charles Durbin are the two that have already come out against this potential. However, it has not been announced yet. We still have 45 minutes until that will take place. But as of now, it doesn't look that the Democrats are going to go along with this, although it still could achieve the goal of President Trump.
Given that the president hasn't even made any sort of announcement yet, and they're already saying they'll reject it, is pretty absurd to me. Let's let him speak and then revisit. It's just crazy to me. I feel like no one knows the meaning of compromise anymore. Regardless, the Democrats aren't going to get everything that they want, and the Republicans aren't going to get everything that they want. And at this point, we have 800,000 federal furloughed workers who are set to miss a second paycheck this Tuesday. Is that okay? That's just absolutely crazy to me. And, it's really important that we get these people back to work. Now, I'm just monitoring the chat right now. If you guys have any particular questions or things that you'd like us to touch on, please be sure to put that in the chat. And if you're just tuning in, We are live from Capitol Hill. We are going to be giving, we're giving commentary prior to the president's major announcement expected to center around border security here in under an hour. Now, it was previously scheduled for 3 p.m. and then was pushed to 4. He'll be giving that live in the White House in about 45 minutes, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're very excited to have you here. If you have, like I said, if you have any questions, please put those in the chat. We were here actually for the March for Life yesterday, and that was a very incredible day. We had a great time doing that. It's a little bit colder today, so bear with us. It's also supposed to downpour at some point, so stay tuned. It might be really entertaining. Again, if you have any questions, be sure to put that in the chat. If you're wondering how to donate, you can do that via rsbnetwork.com/donate, or you can go to Patreon and you can donate via that. That's a monthly donation system, and essentially you can give X amount every month and you receive special perks associated with that, so that's a lot of fun. You can also do it via PayPal or by mail. Now, by mail, I'm sure our lovely moderators will put that address down below in the chat shortly. Thank you guys for everything that you do too, keeping the chat family friendly and making sure that it's clean and all good to go. We really appreciate you guys as well. Max?
Yeah, guys, so we are still 45 minutes away. Sorry, I stepped off camera to tweak some of the camera settings, but right now, Bailee, you and I talked a little bit about this at lunch about, Democrats rejecting some sort of deal in favor of, at the time we didn't know it would be DACA recipients. At the time we were just kind of talking about some of the federal workers. But let's throw DACA recipients in, and you were talking about how the Democrats were so emotional over the DACA recipients. They were so emotional over the federal workers not being paid right now. They will be paid later. And you talked about how it would be hypocritical for them to walk away from this offer because they signaled for it before and they should be trying to do things in the past. Can you kind of elaborate on why you believe it's hypocritical for them?
I just think it'd be hypocritical at this point because, they ground so much of their argument in the humanitarian nature of these are people and they've been here and that, maybe they were, haven't even been to the country that, their family is from. And I just think it's a little bit crazy to think that they wouldn't accept some sort of concession for something like that. To me, it just says they're concerned about the politics. A lot of these leftist lawmakers have called for border security in the past, and they're not doing it now just because of the president. Quite frankly, they just don't like the president. So anything that he says, they'll say the opposite, and they'll want the opposite, and they'll create a lot of pushback on that. So at this point, I just think it's a matter of politics, really. I don't know. What do you think, Max?
This may come as a surprise, but everything in politics is political. So yes, I agree with you that that's in a sense all about politics. However, I do understand the notion of trying to get the most that you can. Obviously, President Trump had a very similar deal in place a year ago and rejected it. Now he's coming back and arguably in less amount of control than he was a calendar ago. So I understand that they're going to try to get more, and this is where it's going to come into play of President Trump staying strong and President Trump sticking to his guns and trying to give up as little and get as much in return. And I think eventually, like I said a little bit ago, public opinion will shift eventually. It's probably at its strongest against President Trump, and it can only really go against Democrats at this point. And so right now, he needs to hold on as long as possible because I think it'll work out in his favor.
Yeah, and I think he will stick to his guns, but I also think if he doesn't get this wall built, it could cost him a second term. So I think, it's a matter of drawing the line between when do I pull the plug with the national emergency and say we have to secure our border. I can't wait here and wait for them to come back to the table, the negotiating table any longer. So I think it's just a matter of at what point that'll be, and it could be today, it may not be today. We'll have to stay tuned and see. Now, I just want to thank you, Joey Bakula, for your $4.99 donation. You said build the wall. Thank you so much. We also have an $8.88 donation from Ed Weeb. Thank you very much for that. And yeah, thank you guys for all tuning in. like we said, we extended our stay because we thought it would be a really cool opportunity to take the chance, following the president's announcement and before to, talk to you guys and offer our insight and analysis regarding what he says about border security. So we're looking forward to that. So thank you guys for tuning in and thank you for your donations. We're really excited for the weeks to come. We'll hopefully be heading to San Diego in a couple of weeks, and then CPAC. Now, have you been to CPAC? I've never been to CPAC. Okay, so what are you expecting with something like that? I really have no idea.
I don't really know how to explain it other than it is everyone that puts a Republican next to their name and anyone who labels themselves as conservative will be there. So we're looking at everyone within the NRA, we're looking at everyone within Breitbart, everyone within the Daily Wire, everybody within the Republican Party, a lot of congressmen, a lot of senators. I believe it was 2 years ago, I could be wrong on that, President Trump was there. So pretty much it is a party for Republican Party members is essentially what we're looking at. It's a massive convention where everyone gets together, talks about conservative ideals, motivates one another, discusses things, policy or cultural, and moves on from there, gets everyone together. That'll be in Washington, D.C. at the end of February, and we will bring that coverage to you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Max. I'm not really sure what I expect for something like that. I know I'm looking forward to it, but like you said, there's going to be a lot of prominent people who hold a lot of credibility in the media, out of the media, NRA, people from all across the board. So I think that'll be really interesting to see them in person. I was telling you yesterday, this is a city where and I'm going to use the word fangirl, because some people fangirl over celebrities and people like that, but I just think to be in the city limits of some of the most powerful people in the world, I mean, it's just mind-blowing. Maybe that's me just being, I don't know. I just think it's really, really cool. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to second some of what you said. For me, the excitement doesn't come from being in proximity with the powerful people per se, but more of just kind of the history that's taken place here. And a lot of the, I don't even know why I said a lot of, pretty much every single thing that has shaped this country has really happened here. Now, it may have started in other places, but D.C. is the center for a lot of the change and a lot of obviously the policy that has come into place. So that's why I love being here. I think sometimes we just tend to hear names a lot in the news and see them a lot on social media, especially the current political wave is very social media minded. Barack Obama was, a lot of people say Barack Obama was more of a celebrity than a president, and that's kind of exactly what we have here with President Trump, and so it's easy to kind of lift them up. They are just people, and so for me a lot of it comes down to being in the city of history, which is just incredible. Just being able to see the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument. The Capitol is right behind me, Supreme Court is over to my left. It is very surreal.
Library of Congress over there. Yeah, there's exciting things everywhere. There's a lot of history, and I mean, I knew these buildings were beautiful, but especially in person, like the architecture, I mean, it's just breathtaking. Also, I just want to give a quick shout out to Alan Kendrick for your $20 donation. He said, good to see you guys. Thank you so much. It's good to be here. Also from Marshall Mowens and he donated 2020, saying thank you RSBN, keep America great. Thank you so much. Now, Max, could you elaborate, like if we have viewers just tuning in, why these donations are so important moving forward?
Yeah, the donations are important moving forward because obviously we're looking at 2020. We're looking at a lot of rallies. We're looking at a lot of campaign events that we want to bring to you guys. Obviously, not everyone can go. Obviously, he's not going to be in the same place all the time. And so we want to bring you that coverage, and we need your support to do that. So we need to improve some of the equipment. You guys may have seen some issues yesterday, and you may be familiar with some of the issues we've had throughout the midterms, and we want to improve that. We're a small company out of Auburn, Alabama, and so it's not like we have the resources of Fox News. We don't have the resources of CNN. We don't have this massive war chest. We need your help to build that. So that's why we asked for that. And also, like Bailee mentioned, we're going to be going to a lot more of conservative conventions like CPAC. We're going to be going to the border to show you guys what's going on over there. And so those are the things that we want to bring you, and that's why we ask for your donations. We don't want to keep asking for money, but we need it if we want to continue to bring this kind of coverage to you guys, which we do, and we hope that you guys continue to want to receive it.
Yeah, if you like what you see, keep donating. We appreciate it. Also, someone had asked what time the speech will be on California time, 3 p.m. Pacific. So be sure to tune in then. Yeah, we're really excited. We're really happy to be here. But if you guys have any questions, I know I said this a couple of times, but please put it in the chat. We love to hear what you guys think and your feedback and all of those sorts of things. So be sure to ask away.
Did you say 1 p.m. or 3 p.m.?
1 p.m.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah, 1 p.m. Pacific. Yes.
I thought you said 3
for California people. So yeah, we're really excited. Someone's talking about, did you see how on Facebook the president said for campaign donations he's taking money and you can send a fake brick to Pelosi and Schumer? What do you think about that? Because I laughed out loud, I think, when I saw that.
Yeah, that's pretty great.
People are talking about it in the chat.
Yeah, that's really funny. I think that's something that the president has done an incredible job of. That's another great example of just
because people fired up.
Yeah, it gets people motivated. It's really amusing. I know that's something that a lot of people would put money to. A few guys in high school I knew at the time donated $3 to the Trump campaign each, because if you did that, you would win a chance to go get coffee with Ivanka Trump at Trump Tower. So the Trump campaign has done a great job of marketing donations and kind of giving people either cool experiences, funny things, or just really cool stuff to get more money to build their own war chest, and also to have a little bit of fun in politics, because as we know, there are a lot of times where it's just not that fun.
Yeah, I didn't know that he did that specifically with the $3. That's pretty interesting. I'm sure young men all around America were sending in their $3. But, Randall says hi. Hi, Randall. Yeah, everyone's talking about the fake bricks. We have someone from Ireland. Welcome from Ireland. Let's see. If you guys have any questions, be sure to put... Oh, hi from Scotland. Hello. Let's see. Where are you guys from? Why don't you guys start putting that in the chat? Let's see where our viewers are from. We have Scotland, Ireland. I know we have some people from California. Let's see. But yes, I know there was a little bit of confusion. It's 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern, just for clarification purposes. Let's see. Yeah, we're really, now it's 3:26 local time, so 3:26 Eastern time. In just over 30 minutes or so, give or take, we are going to be hearing from the president and his major announcement regarding border security. So it's a little chilly out here, a little colder than yesterday.
Just a little bit.
I can't feel my fingertips, but it's all good because we're in front of the Capitol and life is good. So we're happy to be here. But let's see.
So you want me to get you fired up for a second?
Yeah.
All right, Bailee. So I think the viewers are going to want to hear your perspective on this, because I think it's very interesting. So you told them not too long ago that just down the road is right now taking place is the Women's March. I actually believe it ends in just a few minutes, actually. Probably good timing since it ends at 4 o'clock and the speech is at 4 o'clock. But in just a few minutes, President Trump will be giving a speech. But the Women's March is going on right now. Mm-hmm. And right now, according to Joe Seals, a producer, just told me there are some signs over there that says some pretty interesting things like...
Is that what you just checked?
No, that's not what I just checked.
Okay,
but he just told me that there were signs that were telling Trump to drop dead, put Barron in the cage, stuff like that. So what is your initial reaction to the decorum over there who complains about Trump's use of language and complains about Trump's behavior?
Disgust. For a group that claims that they want to empower other people and then hold up signs that suggest his son should be put in a cage.
I've been corrected. They didn't say they weren't signs. They actually said it.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that's disgusting, because I think regardless of your political beliefs, that's just, I have no words for that, really. Yeah, like Max had said, the Women's March is going on right now.
Make America Great Again and drop dead. One sign read.
Yeah, this is according to Breitbart. They dropped an article on that. It says, and I quote from Breitbart, protesters among the Women's March in D.C. Saturday called for free abortions for all, President Trump's children to be caged, and for Trump to drop dead. What's your initial reaction? I almost don't even have words for that, quite frankly.
Yeah, I don't have words either. Disappointed, really. Honestly, that's kind of the only thing I have to say. One sign says, if I ever find mommy again, you can give the cage to Trump's children.
That's disgusting. That's awful. I can't say that I'm a maybe I shouldn't be a little surprised. Maybe that's me being naive. I'm a little surprised just because that's so terrible, you know what I mean? But I mean, obviously we've seen this behavior in the past, so it's not a complete shock out of left field, but it is still a little surprising given the circumstances. So I don't know. What do you think about all that? Are you surprised, or did you expect that kind of behavior?
I can't say that I'm surprised. I guess I'm kind of surprised more at the extent of it. Obviously, a lot of people on that side tend to suffer from TDS, trunk derangement syndrome. I think a lot of them tend to say some things that are very explicit, tend to say some things that are very far out there. But I think the extent of it sometimes is really what ends up surprising me.
Also, update from headquarters. Let me just read this before I read it incorrectly. We're giving a live look at the Women's March right now on the screen as well, so you can take a look at that. I'm not sure how many people are on that or in attendance right now, but I do know that yesterday over 100,000 people came to the March for Life at our nation's capital. So I think that's pretty significant. I mean, that's a lot of people. People traveled from all over the place. I mean, we had people from Portland, Oregon, people from Iowa, people from Pennsylvania. I mean, all over the place. And a lot of people, I talked to one young woman who had driven overnight. Max, were you surprised that all these people came from, such far places to be there?
I kind of did a lot of research leading up to it, so I knew it would kind of stretch as far and wide. I think the really cool thing for me was the fact that, not only are they traveling from across the country, but they also had the opportunity to go to pro-life marches in large cities near them. So there was a Catholic school from the area of Birmingham, Alabama, who came to the March for Life, and they could have just gone to the March for Life in Birmingham the week before and not spent the money and taken the time to come up to D.C. So that was what was really cool for me, was just knowing that a lot of these people had come from areas in large cities where a very similar thing was taking place, but they wanted to be here with everybody else around the country to come together.
Thank you, Max. Also, I want to give a shout out to Darius Z. He said, please study and report on the missing $21 trillion from DOD and HUD. Dr. Skidmore, they cover up this under the excuse of national security, and you donated $4.99. Thank you so much for your donation. We really appreciate that. A few minutes ago I asked you guys to comment where you were from, and the chat's moving so quickly right now that I didn't see all of them, but I know I saw Iowa and I saw the Netherlands, so people all over the world are tuning in right now. And it's kind of crazy because, you take for granted a little bit, I think, when you live here, and the President of the United States makes an announcement. I mean, that attracts the attention of people all over the world. I mean, not to say that we don't pay attention when and if, European leaders do that, but that's kind of interesting to think about, isn't it? Like, our president, arguably the most powerful person in the world, gets the attention from people of the Netherlands and, Ireland and Scotland. And I think that's pretty significant. What do you think, Max?
Yeah, it's really awesome that you guys have come together to support us. I know that we get a lot of donations from Scandinavia as well, and we really appreciate that. You guys you guys do help show us and prove to others watching that the Republicans and the Trump supporters aren't just white people in the South, and they're not just rural white people. There's a classic, and you guys are probably well aware of this, there's a classic argument by Democrats that the world is ashamed of America, that the world is disgusted by the American leadership, and you guys constantly show us that it's not really the case. And we know it's not the case, but it's nice to have something to point to.
Yeah, definitely. Also, I want to give a shout out. We have someone from Georgia. That's where I'm from. So, hey. We also have South Carolina, Missouri, Florida, California, Alabama, Vermont, Belgium, Utah. Where else? Another Florida. Also, thank you to Bill and Terry for your $5 donation. You said Texas here, keep up the heat. I wish we had some heat right now because, quite frankly, it's very, very chilly. I can't feel my fingers or toes, but it's all good. Also, so let's see, we have one more donation. Oh, another one from Bill and Terry for $5. Texas here, keep up the heat. Thank you again for that donation. You guys are absolutely awesome. Looks like. Also, we want to welcome Diamond and Silk viewers as well. We partner with them and they're wonderful, so thank you guys for tuning in. If you're tuning in from their platform, we appreciate you watching. We are currently right now outside the Capitol awaiting the president's big announcement regarding border security. We've, kind of talked about what we thought it might be, the implications of what might happen, if it goes one way or the other way, but, it is now 3:33 Eastern Time, and 25 minutes or so we'll be hearing from him. So
hopefully he's on time.
Hopefully soon, because it's chilly out here, but yeah, we're excited. So Max.
Yeah, guys, sorry I keep checking my phone right now. I'm running camera and in front of camera, so I just want to make sure that everything is good to go on your end. It looks like it is, so just checking up on that. Also making sure that there are no new updates to bring you guys. Another donation from
Jerry C. I don't know his last name. I can't.
Okay.
I'm gonna butcher it, so I'll spare myself.
I love the way you guys are growing. Thanks be to God. Finally, a professional opposition channel. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate all the support that you guys.
I have a quick shout out to give. Shout out to my best friend Nina, who's watching. I love you. You're great. Okay.
All right, there we go. So I was checking on to see if any other Democrats, particularly Pelosi, would make any comments, anything public about what is likely to be President Trump's announcement today. Right now, it doesn't seem like the announcement has the idea of what the announcement is has changed, and there are no new reactions. Just half hour President Trump is going to be giving that speech, so it's kind of hard to have a reaction if you haven't heard what it is yet, although that tends to be the popular move by Democrats to
stopping them. They're already saying, we think he's going to say this and don't even bother, we're rejecting it.
Well, and we can point to Brett Kavanaugh's nomination of everyone saying, I'm going to reject the nominee no matter who it is, which would have been really funny if he put up a liberal judge right after that and they rejected that, but we know that's not how that would have worked. But that's the typical move, and we wouldn't expect anything less. I was just checking up to see if anything had changed.
Yeah, definitely. Also, shout out to Michael Mahoney. I think it just... Yes. So Michael Mahoney donated $1.99. Thank you so much for your donation. Also, let's see. We also had someone from Poland. I don't know. That's just mind-blowing to me that people all over the world are tuned in and
awesome.
Just, highly anticipating what he's going to say. So it's 3:36 local time, and we're still waiting for the president. Hopefully he's on time, like you said. Right? I would not mind that.
Yeah.
Can't feel the fingers or toes. But anyway, Trump Girl gave $5, said build the wall. Thank you, Trumpers. Thank you so much for your donation. Also, Alexander Swiernga. Oh, I'm sorry if I butchered that.
Yes, we are.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh.
Would you guys like to be interviewed?
Yeah, we're from California. Oh my gosh, I'm from California. Oh, we were awesome. So we have a quick interview.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, shout out to Willy Wonka Man for your $20 donation. Thank you so much. We actually have a couple guests coming up to join us. They said they're from California, and I just moved from San Diego, so yeah. Yes, we're going to have it live. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, come on in if you're okay. Oh, y'all are so sweet. Now, if y'all could just tell our viewers what your name is and where you're from.
Hi, I'm Colleen Darling, and I'm from California, Orange County, California.
Okay.
And I'm Becky Itzen, and I'm from Carlsbad, California, down by San Diego.
Okay, so I just moved from San Diego, actually. So, yeah. But that's awesome. Now, you guys said that you were here for the March for Life yesterday?
Yes, we were.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
awesome. It was
So
great.
awesome.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys traveled all the way out to our nation's capital just for the March for Life.
Just for the March for Life.
Now, is it your first? Was it your first march, or have you come out before? Or
It was our first one.
That's
It was my
awesome.
first one.
Yeah, my first one also.
yeah. Now, what did you think of it? We had so many great speakers yesterday, and it was
my
such a
gosh.
cool day. But what stuck out to you? What was your favorite part?
The young people. We were amazed by all the young people that are showing up, that are starting to wake up, that are standing up for life, and it was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
It was. I went to the conference the day before, too. Got to
Okay.
hear some of the guest speakers and everything. So I don't know if I can put a cap on one amazing speaker, but they were all really good. Ben Shapiro yesterday morning, listening to him.
Awesome.
We missed Vice President Pence because we were heading up to the march because we were toward the front. We were with a
Okay.
group called Silent No More.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then we
Yeah,
got
I
to hear
think-
testimonies of that. So it was really Such a blessing.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think at the end of the march, people were giving their testimonies up by the Supreme Court.
Yes,
Yes, right.
That's awesome. So I mean, it was an incredible day. Is there a certain, testimony that, really rang out to you guys, or?
Wow. I don't know about a testimony, yes, but a sign that said, I regret losing my grandchild. I regret the loss of my grandchild. And I'm a grandmother, and that just really, really touched me deeply. I mean, every life is a life, but just as a grandmother, you just, yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing really, everybody's testimony was very moving, and just to see how they're willing to come out and to share their testimony and the damage that it's done to their lives, and they're willing to share that. It was amazing. Each woman had a story that was incredible.
Absolutely. I was not only surprised by all the young people, but how many people that were there because they personally resonated with the cause, and people that were out there marching, but also did things, other days of the year because they were so personally ingrained into this cause. So I thought that was really awesome. Now,
I've been involved in the pro-life ministry for over 20 years, serving on the board of directors for a crisis pregnancy center. And I've always either okayed for people to go or helped fund people to go, but I've never been able to be a part of it. And it was just really for the first time, it was amazing.
That's amazing. Now, what would you guys say to a woman who equates women empowerment with getting an abortion?
It's a lie. It's one of the biggest lies that can be perpetuated on them, because it does rob from them. So it's a lie. Yeah.
Yes.
I saw a sign that said that yesterday, and it was touching. But, it was an incredible day. And, obviously we have the Women's March here today as well. Have you guys run into anything interesting?
All of them in the hotel. And just questioning them what I pretended I didn't know about the march today, and told them, that I marched yesterday, and told them a little bit about mine, and then I asked what their march was about, and it was equal rights, and I just said, I just kind of questioned them a little bit, why don't you feel like we have equal rights? We're all in one, all the same in God's eyes, and they got a little defensive on that, so, but it just surprised me that, they were so bold as they were.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I just want to update our viewers, too. These lovely ladies stopped because they were like, were you guys, on Diamond and Silk? So they actually saw us in their hotel room. Is that correct?
No, we did.
Wait, this is even better than this. We had a flight out today, and because of the weather in Chicago, we were supposed to change planes on our way to California. Our flight got canceled. So first we got to go to the Bible Museum, a whole testimony that we met an angel in there, but Veronica. And then we got to go and we were in our hotel room. We're thinking, okay, we're going to listen to President Trump's speech in our hotel room. And then we saw you guys were like, we've got to get in the Uber and get over there.
I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. It was so lovely to meet you, and thank you for being here yesterday and marching. So be sure to tune into the President's announcement. We're excited. So thank you guys. Have a safe trip home. All right, guys, it is now 3:41 local time, and we are awaiting the President's speech. I am looking. We have another donation, $10 donation from Brian White, saying, been here from the start. Seems you've resolved some technical issues. Keep up the good work and report, not create the news. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Also, just looking through the chat right now, it looks like... Oh, sorry, y'all. Okay. A $20... Oh, I think I shouted this one out, but... I'll do it again. Willy Wonka Man for $20 saying build that wall. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. If you're just tuning in, we are reporting live in front of the nation's capital right now, awaiting the president's big announcement regarding border security. It's unclear whether that will be a national emergency, or other reports are suggesting that he might initiate a different proposal for Democrats in order to entice them back to the negotiating table. So, Max, that was a lovely interview, by the way. That was a lot of fun. We're hopefully under 20 minutes till we hear the president's announcement, because, again, I think it's getting chillier by the minute. So
yeah, it is.
How are you holding up over here?
Yeah, I'm holding up all right. It is cold, but, we did prepare for a little bit of that cold. It's just a little bit windier than expected. So, it's not too bad. It really is the wind. And so, glad to be here. Really looking forward to hearing from the president. It should be it should be very interesting to see what he has to say and how he persuades Democrats to come to the table, even though they're already publicly coming out against the fact that they'll come to the table. Depending on what he says, could change their minds. Who knows? but it'll be very interesting to see, and we are just a few minutes out from that.
Gonna give a shout out?
Yeah, Rich Castaldo, $2. Castaldo for Congress in New York's 11. Thank you so much for your donation. And $5 from Ryan Wallace, Build the Wall and Ends the Wars. And $20 from Bill and Terry. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. We need that support. We are thriving on that. Thank you so much for everything you guys do so we can continue to cover these things for you.
Delaney said, what is Ben y'all's favorite part?
Of what?
I'm assuming the trip, maybe? Or the march, or... I don't know. Talk about both. What's your favorite part?
I think my favorite part is just... Besides hearing Ben Shapiro speak, which was definitely a highlight, I think just being a part of the city and being near the Capitol and the Supreme Court really has been an incredible moment for me. What about you, Bailee?
I think just seeing everything in person, it's one thing to, study political science in school and, receive an incredible degree, but it's another thing to come to the city of so much history and so much character and the architecture. Everything is just astounding here, and we've met so many wonderful people, and it's just been really an incredible trip so far. And like I said, we extended our trip last minute, so this is, a surprise even to us to be out here today. So we're very much looking forward to it. Now, I'm looking through the chat right now. Like I said, if you guys have any questions, be sure to drop those in. And thank you for your donations if you've donated so far today. If you're interested in donating to us, you can do that via rsbnetwork.com/donate or PayPal, Patreon, or by mail, which I'm sure our lovely moderators will put that in the chat shortly. And... yes, so be sure to put those questions in the chat if you want to share where you're from. Like I've said, we have people from all over the world watching right now, which is so humbling to me. I mean, how amazing that, people from Belgium, the Netherlands, Poland, all over.
Okay, folks, we're going to go live right now to the White House. Actually, Bailee and Max aren't able to communicate with me right now, but President Trump is giving a live, this was actually moments ago, a naturalization ceremony in the White House. And we're going to be back to Bailee and Max before the president has his announcement. But we're going to go live.
Robert is a warehouse supervisor, a strong guy, a smart guy, and they have a beautiful 4-year-old son who was born here in the United States. Robert, congratulations. Thank you. Marcelo Ramos Ramirez is from Bolivia and has a beautiful, lawful, permanent resident of the United States and has been since 2013. He is the co-owner of a staffing company with his son, Marcio. The business is thriving, he's doing really well, and it's expanding in all different ways. He says, I know that in the United States you can achieve anything that you want, and I am a perfect example. In other words, it's making a lot of money. Marcelo, thank you very much. You're all the beginning of a new and extraordinary adventure. With the rights and freedoms you enjoy as Americans, there is nothing you cannot achieve. But citizenship is also a profound responsibility. Each year, over 700,000 new Americans take the oath and allegiance and inherit a legacy of liberty and justice that generations of Americans fought and died to secure. By taking this oath, you have forged a sacred bond with this nation, its traditions, its culture, and its values. This heritage is now yours to protect, promote, and pass down to the next generation and to the next wave of newcomers to our shores. Our history is now your history. Our traditions are now your traditions. And our Constitution is now yours to safeguard, celebrate, and cherish. As Americans and American citizens, we are bound together in love and loyalty and friendship and affection. We must look out for each other, care for each other, and always act in the best interests of our nation and all citizens living here today. We love each other. We're proud of each other. The beauty and majesty of citizenship is that it draws no distinctions of race or class or faith or gender or background. no matter where our story begins, whether we are the first generation or the 10th generation, we are all equal. We are one team and one people, proudly saluting one great American flag. Again, I want to congratulate you and welcome you to the family. It's a family. It's a beautiful family. It's a family doing very well. We're setting records economically. Our economy is the hottest in the world, and it's continuing and continuing upward. Our unemployment is the best it's been in more than 50 years. And for certain individuals, it's the best it's ever been historically. It will probably soon be now for everybody. It's an honor to have you. God bless you. God bless America. Congratulations. Thank
you. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Previously from Bolivia, Marcelo Ramos Ramirez. Welcome. Previously from Jamaica, Robert Linford Castle. Previously from South Korea, Yu Kyung Choi. Previously from the United Kingdom, Matthew Walter David Hemsley. And previously from Iraq, Estabrook Adel Al-Sayed.
If you're just joining us, we're looking at a naturalization ceremony there. If you're just joining us, we were looking at a live shot of, well, that was a video recorded about 4 or 5 minutes ago of naturalization ceremony there for the White House. That was basically what happens when you become a legal immigrant. You pass your test, and then you become an American citizen. And Max and Bailee will be right back on the screen here in just a second with you as they are working to just change the camera battery. But we're live in D.C. in front of the United States Capitol, and the president's announcement will be coming up in any minute now, actually, within, let's see, looks like we have about 7 minutes to go before the president speaks, so don't go anywhere. We're actually going to be live after the president's announcement as well, where we're going to be giving some wrap-up commentary there at the Capitol. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. I'm getting in touch with Max and Bailee right now, and they're going to be back on in just a minute. So stay tuned for that. We'll have live coverage of the president's speech in full. And then we'll have some commentary afterwards. Our own Max, Kleiber, Bailee, Byers live from the United States Capitol. Just waiting on them to change out that battery, and then we'll be back up. And let's see if I can get a split screen up right now.
Max,
Yeah.
I'm not okay.
This is actual pool material. We can't use a lot of this, but this is actually a live shot now of where the president is going to make his major announcement. This is actual pool material. We can't use a lot of this, but we are ready to come back now to Max, Kleiber, and Bailee, Byers. I believe any second now from DC. Let's see if they're ready to go. And they are. So here they go, and Trump's speech coming up.
Maybe he'll be ahead of schedule. That'd be exciting. But we just met some very nice young women who were at the March for Life yesterday from California, flew all the way out here. So that was really awesome to talk to them as well. I would go through the YouTube chat right now, but I put my glove back on because I can't feel my fingers and I can't scroll right now. So shout out to all of you guys watching. We really appreciate it. We appreciate the support. You guys are amazing. And thank you for those who have donated today. Just know that every dollar counts as we gear up for 2020 and beyond. We have some really exciting projects coming up in the next few weeks as well. They include, I'm actually going to be starting my own show. I haven't told you guys that. So I'm going to be starting my own show. So stay tuned. In the next week or two, we'll probably have the first episode. So I'm not going to tell you exactly what it's about yet, because I'll explain that in the first segment. But stay tuned for that. I'm really excited about it, and I think you guys will enjoy it. So be sure to keep it right here at RSBN, because we'll keep offering you guys this live coverage. And obviously we're just moments away from the president's big announcement. So what time is it now?
It is 3:56 Eastern Time.
4 minutes away, hopefully sooner. But as you can see, we're in front of the Capitol right now because the Women's March was going on today, so we wanted to be out of their way, so to speak. So it's been very actually serene over here. Very few people and kind of a more quiet day. It's probably because it's so cold that people aren't leisurely walking outside. Yeah. But it was really okay until the wind kicked in. I don't know. What do you think, Max?
Yeah, it was definitely cold until the wind kicked in.
Okay, thank you, Max.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so we're a couple minutes out. We're really excited to hear what he has to say. We're unsure of what he's going to say, obviously, but there's also reports that the Democrats are already rejecting whatever that may be. So we'll see how all this pans out.
And right now, as you guys can see, we have split screen up, waiting for President Trump to come to the podium to give his announcement. Any minute now, really. Hopefully, the fewer the better. That'd be great. We are cold, but we are really honored to be here. We are very thankful for this opportunity to give you guys this kind of lead up to the president speaking. In just a few minutes, we'll likely try to force Democrats to come to the table. And we wanted to say thank you guys for the support that you bring us. It means the world to us. We wouldn't be able to come here. We wouldn't be able to go to the March for Life yesterday. We wouldn't be able to go to the border, go to CPAC, go to the rallies without you. And we have a lot of rallies coming up in the future. So please continue to support us. We rely on it, and we really appreciate all the support that you guys give us.
Yeah, and if you're wondering how to support us, you can do that via rsbnetwork.com/donate. Or you can do it via PayPal or Patreon. Patreon is kind of cool because you can give X amount a month, and you will get certain perks associated with your donation. So that's really exciting. You can also do it via mail. A lot of people will send in a check or, however much they're comfortable with, and we really appreciate that too. And whatever way you're comfortable with works for us. So just know that every dollar counts, and we really are gearing up for 2020, and really we have to start now. It's going to be here before we know it. So we're really excited about it. And obviously we know that, the Democrats are rolling out their 105 candidates, and people are really coming out and they're ready to, challenge the president for a second term. So we're really excited about that. So thank you again for the support. And like we said, we're reporting live in front of Capitol Hill, and we're just moments away from the president's big announcement regarding border security. So stay tuned. Max, anything to add?
Keep in mind that there are two likely theories that are being proposed. The less likely of the two is that the president may announce a national emergency that would take some money away from a couple different relief funds, put it together to try to put together a border wall. That will likely get challenged in the federal court system almost immediately. The more likely of the two would be a 3-year extension to the DACA recipients. They would get to stay in the country for a few more years until a more permanent solution is put in place, is the promise. And also the temporary protected status of Central Americans who are here illegally from places like Guatemala, that they would be able to stay longer and I outlined a few states earlier like Virginia and Florida and New York and California, 4 of the major 6 states of those people, and that'll likely be put on the table as well. So keep that in mind as something to listen to when they say DACA or TPS. Those are the people that we're talking about, and we're going to hear that in just a couple of moments.
Max, what time is it?
3:59.
3:59. Hopefully less than 60 seconds away from hearing the president's big announcement. Like Max had just outlined for you, there's 2 major theories on the table, but who knows? Maybe he'll go for a third option. You really never know. So we'll see what he has to say, and we're excited to finally, there's a lot of anticipation that's been building up to this moment ever since he announced his big announcement, so to speak, yesterday. So, like I said, we were actually here for the March for Life, decided to extend our stay to report live in front of Capitol Hill, and it's so humbling to be here and be here for you guys and be offering, our feedback, our expertise, so to speak, all the facts and stuff. So we're really looking forward to it, and hopefully we're just moments away now. So, Max, any word yet?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully, you guys are excited as we are for him to, come and do his major announcement. So it's going to be, hopefully it'll be, a good day and bring everyone back to the table, and some incredible deal will be made and get the 800,000 people back to work who have been furloughed now for, it's continued into its 29th day. This is the longest government shutdown, if I'm correct. Is that correct? Yes. So, any moment now, we're expecting the president. We're really excited to be here. Max, anything you want to add? Tell our viewers.
To stay tuned for some future events. So I know there were a lot of comments as of late, like where have you guys been and stuff like of that nature. And we just didn't have a whole lot to cover. Unfortunately, there was just a lot there were some other things behind the scenes that we needed to straighten out, and also the government shutdown does not create a lot of opportunities for us, and obviously the midterms ended a long time ago. So right now we are preparing to go to CPAC, we're preparing to go to the border, and then of course when the Democrats start campaigning in full throttle, then we will begin to go to Trump's rallies that he will likely hold to steal some of the thunder, to steal some of the attention away from Democrats. And so that's what we need your support for. We're excited to do that. We've been around the entire time. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a whole lot to get in front of camera for, but I'm really glad to be back. I know you're glad to be back as well. And so we just want to say thank you guys for being patient. Thank you guys for continuing supporting us. We know that you missed us. We missed you guys as well. I hope you missed us, but we missed you guys, and we're glad to be here. And we look forward to being in front of camera a lot more frequently in the next 2 years.
Yeah, we will be in front of the camera a lot more. I just want to clarify, in the last month or so, we have been, hard at work, just doing more behind-the-scenes stuff, preparing for these major events coming up, and also website stuff and social media. So if you're wanting to, keep up with the day's latest events Monday through Friday, our website is up to date. So be sure to tune into that if you would rather, look at if you would rather pull up those articles and see what's going on in the Trump White House or all over the world, quite frankly. Be sure to tune into that. Also, I just told you guys a little bit ago, I'm going to be starting my own show in the next week or two. So be sure to tune in for that. I'm not going to tell you what it's about yet. There's a master theme, umbrella theme, so to speak, but you'll find out soon. So be sure to tune in for that. I'm really excited about it, and I hope you guys are too. So, Max?
Well, we're excited to see the show as well. So, I think it'll be good. We know it'll be good. But right now we are still waiting, as you guys can see to the side of the screen there. We are waiting. The podium is there. It's in front of the famous George Washington portrait, the one that had McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's in front of it, which you and I talked a little bit about before. I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. It was a great, down to earth. He knows what they would enjoy. They loved it. The players did.
Trevor Lawrence liked it.
Trevor Lawrence, star Clemson quarterback, loved it. A lot of the players there liked it a lot. Senator Tim Scott, and Senator Lindsey Graham were there for the event, and the players did enjoy that very down-to-earth, middle-class feast that was put on, and, Trump has received a lot of flack for that, but definitely something that the Democrats have tried to slam him on, but I loved it. Bailee, what would your thoughts be if you were eating a Big Mac in the White House?
Euphoria. State of bliss. I think I'd be so excited. I mean, I don't like McDonald's every day, but once in a while, a Big Mac. Who doesn't want a Big Mac ever so often? I mean, they're great. So I think that, to be in the White House would, no words for that in and of itself, but then to add a Big Mac kind of sounds like a state of euphoria to me. But yeah, that would be really awesome. And obviously the Democrats, slam the president for that. They slam him for everything. So quite frankly, to me, I thought it was cool. And, he actually got a lot of praise for it, I also felt like. So that was interesting too. And if you guys are just tuning in, you're watching a live shot of the podium where the president is expected to give his big announcement regarding border security here any moment now. So we're just awaiting him at the podium. Now, Max, what time is it now?
4:05.
Okay, so he's 5 minutes late. Love him, but let's hurry it up. But yeah, so we're awaiting his big announcement any minute now. We're really looking forward to that and seeing what he has to say. So in case you're just tuning in, we're reporting live in front of Capitol Hill awaiting that announcement. So thank you guys for watching. We're looking forward to seeing what he has to say. There's been a lot of build-up. He announced that he would make this announcement yesterday. So it's only been, 24 hours or so.
Less than that.
But everyone has their theories. What's he going to say? Is he going to do a national security or national? Can't even think at this point because it's so cold. National emergency? Is he not? Is he going to offer them DACA protections? And then the Democrats, a lot of them have already come out and said that they're not accepting whatever he has to say. So big plot twist. But anyway, so yeah, it's now 4:06. I know. It's 4:06. The president is expected any moment now to give his big announcement regarding border security. And I just want to thank you guys for tuning in. I know we have people from all over the world, Belgium, Netherlands, Poland. Where else did they say? I mean, all over the U.S., obviously, and all over the world, which is very humbling and amazing to offer you guys this live coverage to people who, obviously care about what he has to say from Europe, So pretty incredible now. So we're really excited. And any moment now, like I said, you're looking at a live shot of the podium where he is expected to give that speech.
So, besides, we talked your ear off about the pro-life march, we've talked your ear off about the shutdown, so really quick, while we wait for President Trump, I'd like to get your reaction on the Bill Barr nomination for Attorney General. You've obviously been writing a handful of articles for Right Side in the past couple days during those confirmation hearings. What are your thoughts about that nomination, and how do you think Barr will fare in a confirmation hearing, in the confirmation vote, and how he'll do as Attorney General if confirmed?
I think he'll do really well. I think he'll be confirmed. I really,
Just a short time ago,
his testimony, I
had
thought
the honor of presiding over the swearing in of 5 new great American citizens. It was a beautiful ceremony and a moving reminder of our nation's proud history of welcoming legal immigrants from all over the world into our national family. I told them that the beauty and majesty of citizenship is that it draws no distinctions of race or class or faith or gender or background. All Americans, whether first generation or 10th generation, are bound together in love and loyalty, friendship and affection. We are all equal. We are one team and one people, proudly saluting one great American flag. We believe in a safe and lawful system of immigration, one that upholds our laws, our traditions, and our most cherished values. Unfortunately, our immigration system has been badly broken for a very long time. Over the decades, many presidents and many lawmakers have come and gone, and no real progress has been made on immigration. We are now living with the consequences, and they are tragic, brought about by decades of political stalemate, partisan gridlock, and national neglect. There is a humanitarian and security crisis on our southern border that requires urgent action. Thousands of children are being exploited by ruthless coyotes and vicious cartels and gangs. 1 in 3 women is sexually assaulted on the dangerous journey north. In fact, many loving mothers give their young daughters birth control pills for the long journey up to the United States because they know they may be raped or sexually accosted or assaulted. Nearly 50 migrants a day are being referred for urgent medical care. Vast quantities of lethal narcotics are flooding through our border and into our communities, including meth, cocaine, heroin, and fentanyl. Drugs kill 78,000 Americans a year and cost our society in excess of $700 billion. Heroin alone kills 300 Americans a week, 90% of which comes across our southern border. We can stop heroin. Illegal immigration reduces wages and strains public services. The lack of border control provides a gateway, a very wide and open gateway, for criminals and gang members to enter the United States, including the criminal aliens who murdered a brave California police officer only a day after Christmas. I've gotten to know and love angel moms, dads, and family who lost loved ones to people illegally in our country. I want this to end. It's got to end now. These are not talking points. These are the heartbreaking realities that are hurting innocent, precious human beings every single day on both sides of the border. As a candidate for president, I promised I would fix this crisis, and I intend to keep that promise one way or the other. Our immigration system should be the subject of pride, not a source of shame, as it is all over the world. Our immigration system should be the envy of the world, not a symbol of disunity and dysfunction. The good news is these problems can all be solved, but only if we have the political courage to do what is just and what is right. Both sides in Washington must simply come together, listen to each other, put down their armor, build trust, reach across the aisle, and find solutions. It is time to reclaim our future from the extreme voices who fear compromise and demand open borders, which means drugs pouring in, human trafficking, and a lot of crime. That is why I am here today to break the logjam and provide Congress with a path forward to end the government shutdown and solve the crisis on the southern border. If we are successful in this effort, we will then have the best chance in a very long time at real bipartisan immigration reform. And it won't stop here. It will keep going until we do it all. The proposal I will outline today is based on, first and foremost, on input from our border agents and Homeland Security professionals, and professionals they are. They know what they're doing. It is a compassionate response to the ongoing tragedy on our southern border. In recent weeks, we have met with large numbers of Democrat lawmakers to hear their ideas and suggestions. By incorporating the priorities of rank-and-file Democrats in our plan, we hope they will offer their enthusiastic support, and I think many will. This is a common-sense compromise both parties should embrace. The radical left can never control our borders. I will never let it happen. Walls are not immoral. In fact, they are the opposite of immoral because they will save many lives and stop drugs from pouring into our country. Our plan includes the following: $800 million in urgent humanitarian assistance, $805 million for drug detection technology to help secure our ports of entry, an additional 2,750 border agents and law enforcement professionals, 75 new immigration judge teams to reduce the court backlog of, believe it or not, almost 900,000 cases. However, the whole concept of having lengthy trials for anyone who sets one foot in our country unlawfully must be changed by Congress. It is unsustainable. It is ridiculous. Few places in the world would even consider such an impossible nightmare. Our plan includes critical measures to protect migrant children from exploitation and abuse. This includes a new system to allow Central American minors to apply for asylum in their home countries and reform to promote family reunification for unaccompanied children, thousands of whom wind up on our border doorstep. To physically secure our border, the plan includes $5.7 billion for a strategic deployment of physical barriers, or a wall. This is not a 2,000-mile concrete structure from sea to sea. These are steel barriers in high-priority locations. Much of the border is already protected by natural barriers such as mountains and water. We already have many miles of barrier, including 115 miles that we are currently building or under contract. It will be done quickly. Our request will add another 230 miles this year in the areas our border agents most urgently need. It will have an unbelievable impact. If we build a powerful and fully designed see-through steel barrier on our southern border, the crime rate and drug problem in our country would be quickly and greatly reduced. Some say it could be cut in half. Because these criminals, drug smugglers, gangs, and traffickers do not stop at our border. They permeate throughout our country, and they end up in some places where you'd least expect them. They go all over our country. A steel barrier will help us stop illegal immigration while safely directing commerce to our lawful ports of entry. Many of these security ideas have been proposed by Democrats themselves, and all of them have been supported by Democrats in the past, including a physical barrier wall or fence. Furthermore, in order to build the trust and goodwill necessary to begin real immigration reform, there are two more elements to my plan. Number one is 3 years of legislative relief for 700,000 DACA recipients brought here unlawfully by their parents at a young age many years ago. This extension will give them access to work permits, Social Security numbers, and protection from deportation, most importantly. Secondly, our proposal provides a 3-year extension of temporary protected status, or TPS. This means that 300,000 immigrants whose protected status is facing expiration will now have 3 more years of certainty so that Congress can work on a larger immigration deal, which everybody wants, Republicans and Democrats. And our farmers and vineyards won't be affected because lawful and regulated entry into our country will be easy and consistent. That is our plan. Border security, DACA, TPS, and many other things. Straightforward, fair, reasonable, and common sense with lots of compromise. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has pledged to bring this bill to a vote this week in the United States Senate. Our proposal is not intended to solve all of our immigration challenges. This plan solves the immediate crisis, and it is a horrible crisis. It is a humanitarian crisis like we rarely see in our country. And it provides humanitarian relief, delivers real border security, and immediately reopens our federal government. If we are successful in this effort, then we can start the border project of remaking our immigration system for the 21st century. Once the government is open and we have made a down payment on border security and immigration reform starts to happen, I plan to convene weekly bipartisan meetings at the White House so we can do a finished product, a great product, a product that we can all be proud of having to do with that elusive immigration problem. Whatever we do, I can promise you this: I will never forget that my first duty and ultimate loyalty is to you, the American people. Any reforms we make to our immigration system will be designed to improve your lives, make your community safer, and make our nation more prosperous and secure for generations to come. Thank you, and God bless America. Thank you.
Path to citizenship, Mr. President. You supported a path to citizenship last year, Mr. President.
Thank you all for joining us. Max Kleiber, Bailee, Byers were live in Washington at the Capitol. They have now packed up and left because it's getting too dark out there for them, but we were live for a couple hours before the speech at the Capitol. You can go back and watch our pre-coverage. We appreciate you tuning in here at Right Side Broadcasting today. I'm Joe Steele back at the Right Side studio in Auburn. God bless everybody. We're going to be going to the U.S.-Mexico border soon as this crisis continues to unfold, and the president laying out his plan to end the government shutdown. And so we'll see what happens. Democrats look like they're already going to reject this. So, we're going to see what happens, but we'll be back live from the U.S.-Mexico border sometime in the next 10 days or so as we prepare. If you want to help fund our journey and help us, you can do so. rsbnetwork.com/donate. There are a lot of things coming up, folks. We've been working hard behind the scenes. God bless. Good night. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday.